Good morning, everybody. Welcome to E2 Test Prep. Now, we are one of the preferred providers of E2 Test Prep. We work very, very closely with the OET, which is the exam you need to take in order to prove to the USMLE for your English levels. We've got a great webinar organized for you today. We're going to focus on a couple of aspects of the OET exam where having somebody to support you plays a really important role in your preparation. So we're going to talk about the speaking role play that you need to do, and also about writing and the score that you need for the US. Another thing we're going to focus on, which again plays a role, is taking care of your mental health in the time leading up to your test. And as Austin said, we'll have a Q&A session afterwards, so feel free. We've got a discount code coming up, and I will be sharing that towards the end. So welcome to E2. Well, we used to be called E2 Language, but we have made our school, part of our school, specific to help students prepare for exams, hence the new name E2 Test Prep. And we are the #1 test prep provider for the OET. We've prepared over 1.6 million students to pass their exam in a variety of exams, but for OET, it's a one-stop learning platform. We've got native speakers. Now, the interesting thing is, as with the exam, we've got speakers with different accents coming from different countries, all native English speakers, but with a variety of accents. So that is a great help. And the support service is available all the time. So you can sign up for a 30-day free trial, get an idea, but with a paid package, there is a wide variety of things. One of them is the mock test. Now, the mini mock test, which we call it, covers all the 4 papers of the OET exam. We get detailed feedback on speaking and writing, because everything we do and mark is marked in line exactly with the OET criteria. So the experience is the same, the level is the same, the feedback is the same. Getting feedback really helps you understand where you are in your preparation. All right. So as far as speaking goes, let's have a look. What is the speaking test, firstly? Well, whether you're taking it online or face-to-face with in an exam center, you're going to have a bit of a warm-up with the interlocutor. So the interesting thing about the OET speaking exam is that the person who is chatting with you, who is playing the role of the patient, has nothing to do with marking. And so that gets rid of a lot of stress. The marking is all done in Melbourne, Australia. Everything is sent over there. There's a huge team of expert markers that mark and assess every person. So there's a warm-up just to break the ice. They have a small chat with you and make sure that you are doing the right tests, because for a variety of medical roles, the OET is available. So there are 2 role plays. So before each role play, you have 3 minutes preparation time. It's a chance, if you need, as a candidate, you can ask questions to the interlocutor. They're there to help you. And then the role play lasts for 5 minutes. Once you've done one, the process is repeated, and the mark is based on both of those. So it's quite fair, really. Now, how will you be marked? Well, we've got the linguistic criteria, which are based on the language. Now, there's 4 of them. They're worth 6 marks each. So, number 1, intelligibility. Can understand what you're saying. Fluency. Do you speak fluently? Appropriateness, which means you're using language that a layperson, i.e. your patient, can understand, because you're not speaking to another medical professional. And of course, the grammar and the vocabulary use needs to be accurate, needs to be correct. Okay, and using various ways of questioning and things like that need to be included. Now, on the other hand, we've got the communication criteria. So these are based on best practice for communication with a patient. Patient-centered is, let's say, the key. So 3 marks each. The first one is building a relationship with your patient. And that isn't just greeting them, it's throughout the whole presentation, the role play. Then we've got taking into consideration the patient's perspective, how you organize the role play, how you gather information from your patient, and then how you give back information to the patient. If they've asked you questions, various instructions you might need to give. So, number 1, let's think about how you should prepare and use that preparation time. So remember we said 3 minutes? So you're given a card, or it comes on a screen if you're doing it online. Imagine yourself in that situation. They're all based on medical, very, very common things. So hopefully taking yourself into the place with the person, all those details are on the card. Now, you've only got half of the conversation, so you need to visualize the whole conversation in a way based on your notes. You might think about what the patient is going to say. So thinking about that gives you a lot more confidence. Then you need to consider your patient. What might be confusing or surprising or worrying for them in the situation you've got at hand? And then during that time, plan how to make a natural flow between the bullet points, engaging the patient, of course, checking their understanding, checking their perspective, signposting, all these things you need to know. So what about speaking in the role play? Well, number 1, remember, it's not just you. There's 2 people in each role play. It's you and the patient. You need to speak at a natural pace. You know, sometimes you need to take things slow. Sometimes you can speed up. You've given 5 minutes, and it's really important to know you don't have to finish all the role play. You will not get any problems if you don't. It's the quality of the work you do that counts, not how much. So what you need to do, you need to ask questions to the patient, explore deeper to understand the patient and their issues better. You need to show empathy. You need to build a relationship based on trust. Then throughout, not just at the very end, summarize things to check understanding, and signpost during your role play to enable the patient to understand where the conversation is going. So they can feel confident, they can understand, they can follow, and of course they can trust you. How can I best practice speaking? Well, number 1, find a partner to work with. There are lots and lots of role plays, sample role plays on our website, on the E2 Test Prep. If you don't have someone at hand all the time, make the recorder your new best friend. Talk to yourself. Another thing to do is to practice in short bursts. So like practice the openings, practice explaining medications, practice responding or asking questions. All right. Use that same idea, but a different focus. And of course, we have the live speaking classes, which happen every week, and they are recorded. So if you're working or the time doesn't suit you, you can see them the next day, picking up lots and lots of tips from me, actually, because I do them. But now, mistakes to avoid. Let's say number one, which the OET do not like, and of course, not good practice, best practice, if you don't interact with the patient. You're not giving a lecture. If you don't address the patient's concerns. All right. One thing, I know it's a medical setting, but the idea is not to focus on the medical aspect, but use your time, your discussion, your interaction to build trust and to show empathy to your patient. And another thing they'd like you to do is use or overuse the same phrases. Yes, I understand. Yes, I understand. Don't worry. Don't worry. Things like that. All right. So you need a variety. And we have a great document on our website with lots of very, very useful phrases to use in speaking. So remember, listen, ask, and be patient with your patient. Now we're going to move on to another, let's say, place where E2 and me too, E2 and me work a lot about, and that's about writing. So there's 3 types of letter they're going to give you: a referral, it could be a discharge, or it could be a transfer letter. Only one, but one of those 3. You're given 45 minutes. There's a set of case notes, and you need to pick and choose the ones that are relevant. So you write the letter, it's between 180, 200 words, and it will be for doctors or for nurses. It's really important to understand how the OET want you to write the letter. All right, because even though you might have written hundreds of referral letters, they're not going to be exactly as they want it. So being prepared for the exam and knowing the exam is a really important aspect of preparation. Now, luckily, the US has put the mark down for writing. So all you need is 300 marks out of 500. For the listening, the reading and speaking, they still want you to have a B, which is 350. So that's quite generous of them. But still, you need to get it. What are the criteria, or where are they marking you? Well, you need to get the purpose of the letter clear and correct. You need to get the content of the letter, again, clear and, let's say, what is needed for our situation. The genre, it needs to be formal, but not too formal. It's not academic writing, and it's not informal. So it's a particular balance. The letter needs to be very well organized, very easy to read. It's a business letter anyway. It needs to be concise. So it needs to be full of information, but not many words. And of course, you need to get the language right. You need to get the grammar, the vocabulary, because if you have incorrect vocabulary, incorrect verb tenses, for example, you are giving wrong information, and it can lead to things not being clear. And clarity is another really important aspect. So what happens in the writing? Well, you get 5 minutes to read a set of case notes. During those first 5 minutes, you can't write anything. After 5 minutes, you can start writing. So take another 5 minutes to write a plan and organize your work. What is going to go in each paragraph? So After that, you need to write the letter. You've got a plan. You need to check off the plan. Have I included the relevant information? And the last 5 minutes, it's time to check for spelling, punctuation, grammar. Okay. I've seen some questions. I will get back to all of them in a bit. Okay. Common errors. What are very common things that we see and no doubt happen also in the OET exam? So there's not enough information given for continuity of care. Irrelevant information is given to the reader. Okay, so we need to focus on what the reader needs to read, not what you wrote in the original case notes. We've always got to focus we've got to focus on who the reader is, what situation we're dealing with, and make sure we get it right. Another thing, your information needs to be accurate. As I was saying to you also about vocabulary, grammar. They don't like poor organization if the information is not clear and easily set out, and any incorrect grammar and vocabulary. So there's lots of things, lots and lots of details that can really make a difference to your score. So how do successful candidates approach their preparation? All right, so this is the whole exam. Well, don't go alone. Ask for and get support from a premium preparation provider, E2 Test Prep, for example. Identify your weak points early. Now, if you do our mini mock test, we've got 2. You do one early on, or do the practice material that is available on our website. You can tell your level, and then you'll know where you need to focus your preparation. Practice, you need to get the timing right, and you need to build up your stamina. So you might want to do something that is timed a little bit slowly at first, but as your time passes, you need to get faster and make sure that you can complete, for example, the writing completely finished in 45 minutes. So give yourself sufficient time. Time and the duration is really important, and you need to study regularly. All right, you need to have a pattern. So have work marked by us before attending our tutorials, all those assessments. We will mark them based on those exact criteria from OET. And we have the great live classes, and you can learn skills and work with other students. So a great bonus. Now, I know most of you have very, very busy lives. There's never a perfect time. So don't wait for perfect conditions. Practice in all types of conditions. Who knows? On test day, it might not be perfect. You might not be feeling well. You might be feeling stressed, hungry, thirsty, or whatever. So you've got to make sure that you are prepared and have the stamina and the sticking power to work and stay in the exam and concentrate for all that time. That's probably one of the most difficult things. Now, as far as the live classes, well, they're on every day of the week. And you can find them on our website, the live classes. All you need to do is register and you can join. Everything on the E2 Test Prep website is very, very simple to use, you know. We do have a free trial, but it's worth upgrading as quickly as you can to a paid one. You've got access then to the live classes, to the practice tests, to the recorded classes, the one-on-one tutorials, the mock test that comes included, and then writing and speaking feedback. There's lots and lots of things that can make your journey to OET not only pleasanter, but more successful, you know? You don't want to get to the day of the exam stressed out thinking, I know I'm not well prepared. Doesn't take much to think about having someone on your side. Now, we talked about stress just now, mental health during your test preparation. Really, really important. I know we underestimate it. Your doctors, we're busy, you're busy, but you need to take care of your mental health. So, how do you cope with stress before exams? Well, everybody probably has their own stress mechanisms, but it's really important, as we said before, to establish a routine. Now, not before you take the exam, well before you take the exam. If you go into the exam with a rushed preparation, with lots of gaps in it, you're going to be stressed, and we want to remove stress from your preparation. So, time. Now, build up your powers, not only of concentration, but you're going to need stamina to work through, because it's pretty relentless. You don't have a break unless you get up and take one, but everything is timed. Now, and that's why you need to have work for those 3 hours. I know a lot of you studied for years anyway. Hopefully you've still got that stamina and that concentration power. There's plenty of mindfulness apps, things like even breathing, taking a little bit of a time out for a second, happy mind and all those things. Plenty of ways of, dealing with stress. So during that prep time, make sure you're eating well, you're taking breaks, you're exercising, you're finding time to sleep and chill out. I know you get that buzz, and as the weeks go on and we see people the week before the exam, highly stressed. And I do always say to them, stop the day before. You're not going to learn anything on that day. Stop, chill, go out, have a bit of a relaxing day. And then the next day, you're going to be much more efficient in what you do. I think this is really important. Be conscious of what is motivating you. Think about the rewards of passing the exam, what changes it's going to make to your life, what success stories it can present for you. It's a great feeling, and I think it's really motivating. And, if stress and anxiety is affecting your success, so it's not your language, it's your nerves and things like that, there's plenty of professional help. Based on that, you might need a couple of sessions. You might not even one. There's online help too. Plenty of ideas. And remember, proper preparation prevents poor performance. It is so true that, you need to think, well, that's it. And investing in your future, which you're all doing by, changing perhaps where you live, going to work and in the US, but even having language skills really help, because you get the most out of your working life. You've got choices, and those choices are going to help your working life. They're going to help you enjoy a more exciting personal life, hopefully, and all the new experiences it presents. So celebrate your progress as you go. It's something that is really uplifting. 3 C's: celebrate, relish, and enjoy. Keep your eyes on the end goals. Yeah. Control in your preparation, build strong study habits, build strong routines, and build up your endurance. Think marathon, yeah? And contentment. How does it serve you and your patients? The whole picture of the changes it's going to make. Well, that's mainly what I'm going to say to you, this is our 15% off. Aussie 15 is the code. You can write it down. And when you go and register on our website, yes, the E2 Test Prep website, you can use that, and anything you get, you'll be taking 15% off. All right, now I've seen quite a few questions there in the chat box, so I will just work through some of them. US citizens, Krishna, interesting. US citizens can be obliged to take the exam. It will depend on your ethnicity. It will also depend on where you got your degree. So you need to go to the USMLE or people like AMO who will be able to advise you on that. Now, Blessing, please, can we have access to this slideshow at the end? Oh, okay. AMO, I was talking to Austin, will be having, these will be available. He will be able to tell you, or it will be publicized during the conference where you can find the recordings of this. Now, Sabine asked, what exactly is meant by signposting at the end of the conversation with the patient? Well, actually, it's not at the end of the conversation, Sabine. It's at the beginnings, I would say, of the conversation. So you might have asked your patient, so you look worried, what are you worried about? Well, I'm worried about the operation I'm going to have and all the process. So signposting means, well, firstly, you can show some empathy. Yes, don't worry. Lots of people feel the same. Let me explain to you what is going to happen in the operation. So that's one way of signposting. You're telling the patient what you're going to do. All right. Mainly explain, or let's discuss ways we can deal with the issue. Let me explain to you the different medications we have available, the different treatments. So it's telling the patient before you start but not before you start, throughout the conversation, what you're going to do. Not as a presentation where you start at the beginning, we're going to do X, Y, Z. No, just within the conversation, that little bit of signposting. Okay, let me explain to you then what needs to be done. Whatever it is, there's lots and lots of ways, and those sorts of things are on our very useful document on our speaking page. So you can find those things. Simple, everyday language, Sabine. I missed out on the point will be marked on for the writing aspect. Okay, well, I could just whiz back just so it's easier for you to show you. There they are. All right. So first point was the purpose. The purpose is clearly stating in the first paragraph, who you're writing about, what's wrong with them. Is it a referral? Is it a discharge letter? And what the patient requires, or what you require from that person. So that's the purpose. The content, have we included the relevant information? Have we excluded the irrelevant information? All right, so the content, is it what the reader needs to know in order to do what they're asked, basically? Do they have enough background information? The genre, well, we don't want too formal. We don't want informal. I mean, it's like a business letter. So it's not an academic writing. So we don't want lots of connecting words which are very complicated. We don't want heavy duty writing. We want something that's easy to read, quick to read, very, very simple to understand, because people are busy. They want to catch that information quickly. Organization, well-organized paragraphs, plenty of paragraphs, things inside the paragraph organized. We've got the conciseness, so things are combined together in a very concise way. And of course, the level of language needs to be accurate. The verbs, the tenses, the connectors, all those things that makes language not only accurate, but easy to read. Okay, so they are the marking criteria. Again, they're all on our website, and all the writing that you will do gets based on this, gets marked based on those, and you can see it. Okay, now Vrinda, at the end of this year. Good. I wanted to ask, would you also assess one's medical? No. I wanted to ask if OET also assesses one's medical clinical knowledge or only focuses on the English aspect of things. All right. The fees, to tell you the truth, Vrinda, I'm not very sure. All you need to do is to go to the E2 Test Prep website, go to OET, and you can find all that. I'm a teacher. I'm not really one of those sorts of people. What I did want to say was that's the difference to the old English test that the USMLE had. It's nothing to do with your medical knowledge. It is based on medical situations. And to tell you the truth, you do need to know some things. But it's not based on that, because, of course, in the writing, based on the problem the patient has, you sort of need to know, well, is that relevant or is it not? But, it's not something that's impossible to understand. You don't have to be a super specialist, for example. So it's pretty standard, all those sorts of things. Thanks, Vrinda, for that question. Now, oh, definitely. So Vrinda says, as we're going back to the speaking, to the signposting, if we are to explain a procedure to the patient, it would be provided in the notes. Definitely, Vrinda. And anyway, you can say whatever you like, even if it's inaccurate or it's completely wrong. It's nothing to do. But the thing is, any procedure or any information is put on the card. And so all you need to do basically is put it in your own words. Yeah, you don't need to, the information is there. They don't really want you to read it out off the card. So you need to improvise a little bit, but not much at all. And if you make mistakes in the details of that, makes absolutely no issue. But it's pretty simple things, so it's not really very, very difficult. Now, how long will your t-test will replace step 2? Oh, I think it's forever, Nana. All right. There's no reason that it's going to go back to what it was. The USMLE and the board, they have chosen E2 Test Prep, and we work very closely. I know OET works very closely with them. As I said, they haven't chosen E2 Test Prep, they chose the OET, and they're very happy with the standard and what comes out of it. The maximum score, Saboat, is 500 for each page. All right, but 350 you need for listening, reading, and writing and speaking, and 300, which is C+, you need for writing, which is pretty decent. Mainly, Vrinda, definitely your interactive skills. All right, don't forget we've got listening, but again, that's based on someone speaking. And then, of course, the reading, you need They need to know your understanding based on work situations. So, it's very close to your work. And actually, in actual fact, many people who take the OET are pleasantly surprised because they perhaps, haven't had chance to focus on um, clinical communicative criteria, for example, how to improve their patient-centered, how to work more with the patient being the center. Sometimes it depends on where you've come from and the culture in the country. So it's sort of a great way to learn a wide variety of skills. Oh, it's my pleasure. There we go. Hi, Austin. Oh, that's
Hi,
oh,
jump in
blessing. I
with a
love
few
that question. How long does it take to prepare for the OET? Well, how long is a piece of string, blessing, they say. Darling, it depends on your level or anybody's original level. And it depends then how long per week you can dedicate to preparation. There are so many different things. You need to take the mini mock test. You need to understand where your weaknesses and strengths are. You need to then factor in how much free time you've got, and off you go. You can do it within a month if you are probably not working and you can study and your level is pretty decent. There we go. There's Bagya, there's no restrictions on how many times, but believe me, darling, don't do that. Don't take the exam lots of times. Take it. If you don't pass, you need to get help before you take it again. It's not a cheap exam. I know it's cheaper than the old one, but it's still not cheap. Much better to make an investment with a provider, with someone like us, and have that support. And you'll go into the exam next time, so you're only going to need it. You don't need to take it many times. It's not a way of improving. You need to work and you need support. Time reading part of the test. Oh, thank you, Sai. To manage the time with the reading, well, we didn't really talk about reading part A. It is an issue. You've got 15 minutes, but you're scanning. You're just looking for information there. So you don't need to read everything. It's all about learning how to take the, and that's what we do. We teach people how to take the exam. All right. What to do to get the right answers, but what to do it within the time. Sai. Yeah. The mini mock test, Vrinda, they assess all the 4 parts. So you've got the reading, well, first the listening, then the reading, then the writing, and then the speaking gets done separately online. Does a USC IMG? Of course, Abdullah. Of course. That's you, the guys. You people have to take the exam. Definitely. So it's part of that journey in order to get in one of the residency programs or whatever you plan to do. Yay. Good. That's been very, very interesting. And I really look forward to having lots of you in my classes in the future. There is take advantage of it. And there's some fun things. If you've got social media, there's fun things going on about Australian words that you can learn. And that's the 15% discount. Yes. So there we go. Good. I'm going to bid you all farewell.